Okay students, in the last slide we already discussed that what is the difference between search and research. Search simply means that looking for something new, and research simply stated that search again and again an old thing to find out a new thing. Now we will move to the next slide, that what is research. I have taken a very simple definition of research, a journal research, that is that research is simply a process of finding solutions to a problem. Now let me highlight here, after through study and analysis of situational factors. It is gathering information needed to answer a question and thereby help in solving a particular problem. Now this definition simply said that research is what? It is a process that where we dig out a problem and then we find out all the solutions or alternatives through which we can resolve a problem, a particular phenomena. This process of investigation to find out a solution about a particular problem, this process, this phenomena is simply known as your research. Here in this definition, a word we have used, that is situational factors. What is basically situational factor? Situation simply means the condition, while factor mean variables. Those variables which are being a cause to create a situation, or in the simple words, those variables which creating, or those roots, the reasons of a problem. Simply that the reasons of the problem which basically create that problem is known as your situational factors. So research is that process that where a condition is to be found out, a problem is to be found out. Then with the help of this research, it is to be diagnosed that what are the different cause roots of this problem. These cause roots of these problems are simply known as your situational factors. Now research is basically to solve an undesirable situations. Undesirable situations simply means the situations which are not in favor or unfavorable conditions. So research is that process that basically highlight the undesirable situations, the unfavorable situations. Now we move to some examples of undesirable situations I have mentioned here. Let me explain. Some undesirable situation. Number one, a manager that the customers are not pleased. Are my customers satisfied from my product or services? Now this is one of the undesirable condition or situation where the research is to be needed. Another example at your level, it becomes more easy in understanding, which I have mentioned here, that is, let's suppose in any of the exam 67% of the students, they are failed in exam. Now again it is an undesirable situation. Now we see now 67% of the students, they are failed. Now this is an unfavorable condition. What does it mean? Why it is an unfavorable condition? Because that is a condition that where we need to explore that why 67% of the students are failed. Why the majority of the students are failed? Now the situational factors can be, or the variety of causes can be, number one, the teachers, number two, the curricula, number three, unavailability of books, number four, examination system, and the last, family environment of students, and many more. Now let's start from the first, number one, the teacher. Now the first we are talking about the teachers. Might be teachers was not appropriate, might be teachers were not good, students were not able to pick from the teachers, so the behavior of the teachers were not at absolute. the command of the teachers clear were basically not over the subject. So might be teacher can be a reason. Another thing, curriculum, course outline. कि देशी बच्चे सासु course outline चले अगर देर ज़्यादा tough, your course outline is too tough. Might be course outline is too lengthy. Might be course outline was so tough. That could be a reason. Half of the course outline was completed. It can be a reason. Next, unavailability of books. Whatever the books were mentioned by your tutor might be not available in the library. You didn't get any of the handouts from the teacher. Examination system. Might be the examination system was unfair. Might be that there was a flaw in the examination system. Examination system was so tough. Even exams were not taken as seriously. Another issue can be that family environment of the students. Let's suppose the atmosphere of the students at home, that was not comfortable. That was not in the favor of the students. Now, all these are some unfavorable, undesirable situation. Up here, we need to do research. Why we need to do research? Because we know that 67% majority of the students are failed in the exam. Now we have to dig out that why 67% majority of the students are failed in the exam, and these can be the different reasons. There can be more reasons as well, but I have mentioned a few reasons just to make your idea clear. Now in such desirable situation, we need to explore that what are the different reasons that can create this such undesirable situation. So in this case, when we want to solve an undesirable and unfavorable condition, we need further investigation. And this further investigation, this process of further investigation is simply known as your research process. Hope inshallah a bit idea will be clear. So from the above, we can simply say that research is a process that with the help of which we can find out the solutions of a particular problem. Now we will move to the next slide, and here we want to study that what is business research. Now if you notice one thing, business, and the next terminology, that is research. Look at here, the one is business and another is research. Business means simply the transactions within a business. When we are talking about the dealings within a business, when we do a research regarding to business, that is simply known as your business research. Now, how books define the business research? I have mentioned a definition here. You can see that business research is the systematic and objective process of gathering, recording and analyzing data for aid in making business decisions. Simply stated, business research is a systematic. And now what does it mean, systematic? Systematic means a system, a process, a step-by-step process, a chronological activity. A chronological activity simply means that where every upcoming step that is connected with your last step. It means that it is a systematic process. It is an approved process. It is a scientific inquiry. Scientific inquiry is that inquiry that where we can repeat it, we can check it clear again and again. That is simply known as a systematic. And objective process. Objective process means that whenever a research is done, it has some aims, it has some targets. Like for example, in the previous slide, I told you that 67% of the students, they are failed in an exam. 67% is the majority. I want to search out, I want to dig out that why 67% of the students are failed. What is the reason? Now it means when I want to explore that why 67, so it means I have some aims, I have an objective, and the objective is that why majority of the students are failed. This objective oriented process is known as your objective process. So business research is simply a research that contains an approved systematic way, and it has some aims. Regarding to those aims, we collect the data, we record the data, we study the data. And once we have completed all these three steps, now we are able to take clear a business decision, a research decision. So simply stated that business research is simply a research of systematic and objective process. Next, research information is neither intuitive or haphazardly gathered. What does it mean? Intuitive. Intuitive simply means that uncertainty, randomly. Research is not a random process. No. Research is an objective oriented process. Whatever we are doing, we have to make the proofs. Whatever we are doing, we have to reduce the uncertainty. It is not haphazard. It doesn't mean that the research process is without planning. No, we have to properly make the plans. That how we have to start the research, what will be the objective, what will be the design, what will be the methods, what will be the procedures, and what will be the layout, and how we have to analyze and how we have to find out the net results. So it is a systematic, a planned activity. It doesn't mean that it is an uncertain activity. Hope a bit idea will be clear. Business research must be objective. As I told you, that when we are performing a task or activity, so regarding to each activity we have some aims. Without aims we can't do anything. Like for example, let's suppose we are sitting in a car and we say to driver that let's move. Definitely driver will say to you that Mr. where you want to go. Ab you say to the driver is it? So it means that is unclear. You don't know that where you want to go. Why? Because you don't know the destiny. You don't have any objective. So research or business research must be objective. Whatever you are doing, you must have to be clear what you want to do. It means either you want to explore something, your objective is exploratory. Even you want to describe something, your objective is descriptory. Even you want to find out cause and effect relationship. It means that something is happened, X is happened by the Y, or Y is, let's suppose, getting disturbed by the X. It means cause and effect relationship. One thing is being the cause of the another thing. Or correlational study you want to do. So it means any of the research you want to proceed, you must clear about the objective, aims, targets of those research. The last is detached and impersonal rather than biased. Now what does it mean? One is known as unbiased, one is known as biased. Biased means unfair. It means कि तासो कम हम research कवई और research ना पास चे कम तासो सारा conclusions राजी. So you have to accept those results. Don't do biasness. It means research के तासो कोशिश कवई चे neutral जान उसाते. You must be neutral in the research. Whatever the results are, for example, being researched by you during the research, so you must have to accept. There shouldn't be an biasness from your side into the research. मतलब चिकला हम research से finding साथ वाला worky नखपल जान तरफ ना है किसे addition मकोई. That is simply known as you are biased. Hope a bit idea will be clear. Now we will move to the next slide, and that is research method. Now let's start about the method, that what basically the method is. Now we are talking about method. If you remember, I told you that our course, the subject, the name of the subject, that contains two terminologies. One was research and another was method. Now I'm going to explain method, that what the method is. Method is simply a way. Method is simply a technique, a methodology. Methodology is basically the combination of different methods. Method is the way, method is the technique, method is the phenomena with the help of which we can solve a particular problem. Simply stated, method comes to designs and procedures. Now what is design? Design simply means the layout, the roadmap of your research. Like suppose I want to start my research in a contrived manner or in a non-contrived manner. मतलब आया ज़ खपल रिसर्च लेबोरेटरी के कवल वाड़मा या आया ज़ खपल रिसर्च कम दे आगा real life working environment के कवल वाड़मा. After that we have different procedures. Procedures mean the techniques. What type of techniques I have to use in my research? Should I use the survey method? Should I use record, for example, capture method? Should I use the interview method? Should I use a questionnaire method? So all these comes under your different procedures. So method is simply the combination of designs and procedures. Or in other way, we can simply state it that method is the way, a technique, a systematic way that how to proceed clear a problem. Now simply means method, the data is collected or analyzed. We would be focusing on the survey methodology in which the research is conducted by collecting data and analyzing them to come up with answers to various issues of interest. Simply stated that method से दे method अगर लारा दा अगर तरीका दा चे कम मुंगा खपल research के इस्तेफादा को अगर questionnaire हम की देशी अगर survey हम की देशी अगर स्तासो नोर different methods दी अगर की देशी data analysis different techniques दी देखो आप tool की देशी right frequency distribution analysis दाम की देशी direct observation indirect observation दा tool तासो चला सी दा tool तासो चला methods सी. And methodology today, methodology is simply the combination of the different methods is known as your methodology. Hope a bit idea will be clear. Hope a bit idea will be clear. Now we move to the next slide, that is the value of research. Sometime the value of research and sometime the importance of research. Now the theme of the slide is that what is the importance of research, or simply stated why research is important. Let me explain that why research is important. Actually research is important to everyone, for the students, for the professionals, for the managers and so on. But we are mostly concerned with the managers and students. So for the managers, research is important because when they do research, they reduces the amount of uncertainty. It means then when properly things are to be investigated, the reduction in the uncertainty, the things move toward the certainty state. And the second thing is that when managers do proper research, they are able to do the good decisions or good decision making processes in the organization. Like how? Suppose any of a manager or the bunch of the managers, they want to invest their investment or money into a company that they don't know that their shares in the market are going to be down. So aya the manager ran chikam de yo dasi company ki investment kai che agi market share chikam di aga day by day che de aga kamegi lage. Will they do? Will they take this decision? Of course no. Reason? Because they know one of the variable, the decline in the market share, that is basically telling to the manager that there is an uncertainty, a risk in the investment. So dasike, for example, your country there, one of the country that where we want to invest, clear our investment in that country, but we don't know the special analysis of that country. Like for example, we don't know the political issues, the technological issues, the social issues, the economic condition, whether there is a stability, whether there is not any stability, whether there is, for example, war, terror in that state or not, we don't know. So in this condition, when we are not familiar or we have a lack of knowledge about that country, so we are unable to do our investment in that country. So therefore it says that when managers do or take a decision, they must have to be rationally study the whole processes. They have to identify all those problems, all those variables which having the bad or adverse impact clear on the investment. So therefore this slide simply says the research is important because it will generate the knowledge. And once the bunch of the knowledge is created, there will be a reduction in the uncertainty. Uncertainty means risk. Sada alfaz ke. That is called your risk. Mention here reduces uncertainty mean risk condition. So now decision making process. Decision making process as a whole overall what process the लेकिन decision making process for the manager starts from the first identifying problems or opportunities. In this first step, the managers, when they want to take the decision, first they have to identify the problem, that what is the real problem and what are the different opportunities. Simply stated, this step is simply known as your SWOT analysis step, where the managers identify the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Once they are familiar with the SWOT, then they move to diagnose and assessing problems or opportunities. Now in the second phase, the managers identify that how they can reach to these problems, and that is known as the TOWS concept, that where once the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats are to be identified, the next phase or in the second step, the manager decided that what could be the different strategies that they can convert their weaknesses into strengths. They can convert their threats into opportunities by the concept of TOWS. And the third, selecting and implementing a course of action. A course of action means a method, a task. They find out, the managers, they find it out the different alternatives, the different techniques. Then they evaluated the course of actions. They study, they compare, they evaluate all the different actions, courses of action, tasks with one another to calculate that which contains the minimum risk. Those actions which contain the minimum risk, then the managers are able to pick those, and then they decide that now we have to implement those courses of actions which contains a less amount or quantity of risk. So therefore, importance of research is that research basically give an idea that how to reduce uncertainty state. Or simply stated, we can say the research provides the needed, the required information that guide managers to make or informed decisions to successfully deal with the problems. The information provided could be the result of a careful analysis of data gathered firsthand or of data that are already available. Hope inshallah a bit idea will be clear. Now we will move to the next slide, and here we are going to study that some commonly researched areas in business. What is basically the theme of this slide? This slide simply tells us that what are the different areas, aspects in which research can be done. Book ke deer zyat mention shavidi. I have mentioned a few of the areas here just to make your idea clear. Number one, that is employee behavior. Behavior means actions. Those actions which are performed in the organization or during the job by the individual or groups. So they ke possibility shta che research to research continue shi. The behavior of employees can be number one, performance. Ab already taso HRM ke performance study kare de. That performance is what? Performance is simply the study, or it is the function of opportunity, motivation and ability. Now performance, how research can be done in the performance? Simply it can be supervisory performance. A supervisor is doing performance well or not. A performance appraisal system is accurate or not. Either this appraisal system of performance contains some errors or not, like for example leniency in the performance, halo effect in the performance, etc. After that we have absenteeism. That why absentee ghair hazri ch barta vayu. Why ghair hazri is more in the organization? What are the different reasons? People are not happy. The system is, for example, lenient. People are not motivated. What can be the reasons? So these are the different reasons, these are the different areas in which definitely research can be proceeded. After that we have turnover. That why are people they are leaving the organization? What are the different reasons? People are again not motivated, not good working condition, they are unhappy from the working conditions. Either they have some salary issues, either the supervisor behaviors are not good, your perks are not good. So there can be different reasons. So in this way we can say that employee behaviors, that is an area in the business research that where proper research is to be done or research can be carried out. Another we have employee attitudes such as job satisfaction, such as loyalty, such as organizational commitment. Suppose we want to study that if there is more commitment of the employees in the organization, will it lead to job satisfaction? Is it or not? Now that is a hypothetical situation. We have to gather the data and then we have to find out that either really commitment leads to job satisfaction or not. And if people are satisfied in the job, will it lead to the loyalty? Or either commitment leads to the loyalty, or either loyalty leads to the job satisfaction. So all these are the correlational or hypothetical statement where we can definitely carry a research. After that we have managerial leadership styles. Managers, managers are sometimes known as situational leaders. Now managers or leaders, they know the real situation of their organization. They have to understand that which managerial or leadership style is appropriate for their own environment. Like sometimes the participative style is more appropriate, sometimes the autocratic style is more appropriate, and sometimes the coordinative style or free rein style is more appropriate. So here in this situation the managers have to identify that which style is more appropriate. Again, the need of a research. And the last, HR strategies like employee selection. Is the selection process fair? Is there any error in the selection process? Is the recruitment is appropriate? Is recruitment process is complete? Are people properly trained? There is any career opportunity in the organization? So all these are the different areas where your research is to be done. Hope inshallah a bit idea will be clear. Now we will move to the next slide, and this slide is about managers and research. Again, the slide basically tells us that how managers are linked with the research, or in other way we can say that how research is important for the managers. Now let's start one by one. That what does it mean? Number one, identify and effectively solve minor problems in the work settings. पहला खबर है कि मैनेजरानों दे पारा research वाली important है. शुरू के मास सासो हुए. Initially I told you that research is the process to dig out the solutions of a problem. So when managers they have the knowledge that how to explore the issues, they would be more capable to solve and find out the solutions of a problem. So therefore it says that identify and effectively solve minor problems in the work setting. That when the managers have this ability to carry out the research process, so they would be able to solve minimum and minor problems within the organizations with good work settings. Second, know how to discriminate good and bad research. It means managers are able to make a difference between good and bad research. Good and bad research doesn't mean that really good and bad. Here means we are talking about the effective and ineffective research. When managers have the capability to find out that which methodology is more good and more appropriate in one type of what type of situation, so managers would be able to make a difference between good and bad research on the basis of the evidence of methodologies and findings. Next, constantly aware of multiple influences and multiple effects of factors impinging on a situation. What does it mean? That is a situation that where with the proper research, managers will be able to identify the different cause or roots of a particular problem. Like for example, when I'm saying a correlation analysis, like suppose tasu ta wayama chi sales chide aga kamigi lage your product, there is a decline in the sales of a product. Multiple factors that can contribute in the reduction of the sales of that product. Multiple factors, factor A, factor B, factor C, factor D, and multiple factors having definitely multiple impacts over the decline of the sales of that product. Now in this situation, the managers has to find out that which particular factor is more appropriately linked with the decline of that product. Simply stated. After that, we have take calculated risk in decision making. Initially, I told you, when we are talking about the research methodology or the research basic aim is to reduce uncertainty, or in other words, to minimize the risk. So when the managers, they are able to identify the different alternatives, they evaluate the alternatives and then they compare that which alternative course of action has a minimum risk. So then they are able to take that factor or alternative which contains a minimal risk. Next, that is relate to hired researchers and consultants more effectively. Sometimes managers, they are not able or they don't have the potential knowledge that how to proceed the research, or sometimes they are not specialized in such the area that they have to proceed their higher level researches. So then in this situation, they must have to know that what type of person or as a consultant researcher they have to hire. कला मैनेजरान से कई अगर कोशिश दा कई चावल हो कागुई सर खपल इंटरनल R&D डिपार्टमेंट मौजूदी कागुई खपल रिसर्च प्रोसीड की, लेकिन समटाइम्स सदा से कम्प्लेक्सिटीज राशि प्रोजेक्ट्स के चे हतमन लाजमी जगह बाहर चकम कंसल्टेंसी अगुई ना हेल्प वाली. So this slide simply says that how managers and researchers, they are interconnected. Now we will move to the next slide. That is, let me first clear it. Yes. In this slide, the major idea, it's a theoretical slide basically, and this slide is telling us the internal versus external consultants. Let me give you the theme of this slide and what basically this slide says. This slide, the slide that way, ډېر organizations داسې دي چې هغوی سره خپل proper research center موجودي. Sometimes that is known as management services department. Sometimes it is known as organization and method department, and most probably that is known as research and development departments. Now organizations, some organizations they have their own R&D department, research and development centers. نو هغوی کوشش دا کوي چې they mostly use their own managers for their research and development purposes. نو کله چې هغوی خپل ریسرچ دغه لپاره ډیولپمنٹ لپاره خپل ریسرچر یا خپل مینیجران ایز ا انټرنل ریسرچر یا کنسلټنټس استفاده کوي so they have some advantages. The first advantage is that the internal team would stand a better chance of being readily accepted by the employees in the subunit. نو اول کیسه خدا ده چې the team is the entire team of that organization. So this team is probably easily acceptable by the rest of the other units and members in the organization because most of the people or majority of the people are definitely familiar with that team. اول خدا ګټه ده. Then the team would require much less time to understand the culture because that these are the internal employees of that organization. They are also well familiar with the culture of that organization. They know the norms. They know that how to treat the people. They know that how to act in that organization. They know that how to interact with the people because they are the real people of that organization. Next, they would be available for implementing their recommendations after research findings are accepted. यो खुदा چې خپل organization دی نو چې کم هم recommendations کم هم findings کم هم analysis هغوی کړی دی easily that can be applied in the organization ولې چې هغوی خپل organization ده and they know better their own organization. The fourth, the internal teams might cost considerably less than an external team for the developing enlisting help in problem solving because they will need less time to understand the system due to their continuous involvement with various units of the organization. As I told you, come internally already they are already involved in the organization. Masraf doesn't mean only I'm talking about the monetary terms. Masraf da involvement with the people. Time. That time that come time lagai. Time that is time is also a resource. So therefore the masraf che come the organizations ke that is very come. That is very low. Then ilawa we have some disadvantages of internal consultants as well. Disadvantage matlab che nuksanatum che gata da virsara nuksanatum shtari. What these are? In view of their long tenure as internal consultants, the internal team may be quite possible fall into stereotype. Here is the word stereotype. Yes, stereotype. Way of looking at the organization and its problem. اول خدا دا چې دی یو نقصان دی هغه نقصان دا دی چې کله کله some people they have the mentality stereotype mentality or the stereotype personality. What is stereotype personality? Stereotype personality means, for example, that they are against a group. Might be they have some unfavoritism about a group. Might be they have some clashes with the group. Or sometimes दासी हम की देशी like زي organization के कार कोमा او ما یو ریسرچ په کړی دی نو زه وایم نیټ ریزلټ دا راووتو چې خلک people are not satisfied from the salary system. نو زه وایم چې سیلري خو اسم organization نه زیاتوي management صحیح شو نو دا خو اسم خلک خفای leave it doesn't matter. What does it mean? It means that I have a stereotype سوچ I have a stereotype فهم about those. نو یو نقصان خدا دی چې sometimes that the people are very much familiar, so they have the stereotype thinking toward the organization or the members as well. Second, that there is a scope of certain powerful coalitions in the organization to influence the internal team to conceal, distort and mispresent certain facts. There is a scope of certain powerful coalitions. Well, these people are the entire group of people. They are connected, they have the strong bonds with the people. نو کله کله داسې هم possibility شته ده چې just because of the informal relationship the internal چې کوم کسان دي دا خپل چې کوم let's suppose forces دي for example هغه apply کی just to conceal the facts. like زه وایم suppose I'm an internal researcher. زه finance department کې research کوم صحیح شو लेकिन the supervisory, let's suppose, attitude or behavior of the manager is not appropriate with the subordinates. लेकिन on the other hand, the finance manager is very close to me. He is a bosom friend of mine. نو اوس زه څه کوم اوس ما ته پته ده چې خلک د دې بیهیویر نه سیټسفاید نه دي. پیپل آر ناٹ سیټسفاید فرام د بیهیویر اف د فاینانس مینیجر. لیکن هی از مای بوسم فرینڈ, سو دیر فور آئی ایم ڈسکلوزنگ کلیئر لیٹ سپوز ہز سپروائزری اسٹیٹس. What I'm doing, I'm actually concealing the fact. Whatever the reality is, I'm not showing the real reality. I am basically concealing the real reality. That can also be a disadvantage. After that, there is also possibility that even the most highly qualified internal research teams are not perceived as experts by the staff and management. کله کله داسې هم کیدای شي چې organizations having their own experienced people, lekin the entire rest of the other people will ignore them. People will have the potential, lekin هغه څه دی, هغه چې internal دی هغه له دوره value نه ورکوي. simple is that. نو دا هم یو نقصان کیدای شي. it is also a possibility. After that, sometimes organizations don't have their own internal R&D department. So then in this case, organizations basically hire the external consultants as a researcher. So now in this slide we are going to study that what are the different advantages of those external consultants hired by the organization from the external sources. Number one, the external team can draw a wealth of experience from having worked with different types of organizations. أولا خبر خدا ده because those external consultants, they are definitely connected or they have worked with the other rest of the external organizations, so they have a bunch of experiences. They can utilize their different experiences clear upon the organization. So it means that they have a variety of knowledge. They can precede your research clear in a very systematic manner. Second thing, the external teams, especially those from established research and consulting firms, might have more knowledge of current sophisticated problem. In this second advantage might be that whatever the external consultant you have hired for a particular problem, it can be a chance that already these people or those consultants have already done such tasks in any other external organizations as well. मतलब کېدای شي چې تاسو کوم external consultants hire کړي دي خپل problem لپاره. Let's suppose زه یو مینیجر یم او ما خپل د organization کې یو external کس hire کړی دی او زما problem دی turn over, چې زما چې کوم employees دي هغه زما organization کې نه پاتې کیږي. It means that there is a more turnover, people are leaving my organizations very fluently, extraordinary, they are leaving. अब कम कस मा हायर करे दे, might be that being as a manager of my organization I am facing this problem clear very newly. लेकिन किदेशी the people who I have hired for such problem, for such research, might be they have done such tasks in any other organization. It means that they already face such type of research or topics already. So therefore, that's it. That is simply known as that they know the current sophisticated problem, that how to solve this current sophisticated problem. Yo khuda okay gata. After that, dina ilawa, we have some disadvantages of external consultants as well. Jisse gata da no warsara some nuksan hum shte. What are those nuksan? Number one, the cost of hiring an external researcher team is usually high and is the main deterrent unless the problems are very critical. Simply stated, چې کوم کسان موږ بهر نه هایر کوو, they are very costly. Simple. هغوی چې کوم مصرف دی هغه ډیر سیوا دی. Simple is that. Because they will charge you very high. Their fees are very high. Next, in addition to the considerable time the external team takes the understanding the organization to be reached, they seldom get a warm welcome nor are readily accepted by employees. Simply means your nuksan da de that sometimes internal employees, your entire population of the organization, they don't want to welcome or they don't want to disclose clear with the external consultants because these are the external people out of the premises of the organization. No, چې سوره warm welcome internal کسانو ته کیږي او external ته نه کیږي. या in other word we can say familiarity with the environment of the external consultants, that is a bit low as compared to the internal consultants. And the last, the external team also charges additional fees for their assistance in the implementation and evaluation phases. As I told you earlier, Chigura, they come from process execute, okay, they will charge you a high fees because these are the external consultants. Hope inshallah a bit idea will be clear. So dear student, that was the first lecture and we have summed up our first lecture. If you have confusion, put forward the confusion, and in the next inshallah I shall try my level best to explain the concepts in Pashto as well, because most of students they are demanding that sir to lecture chidega English ki ma work koi koshish koi chवर sir वर sara da Pashto hum wai no inshallah the next hatman koshish koma chवर sara वर sara Pashto wa ma inshallah. او dear students تاسو کوشش وکړئ چې کم پاسه ما بوکس ریفر کړی دي تاسو هغه نه استفاده وکړئ ولې بیکاز these are just slides. دا صرف او صرف یو ورکوټ غونه روډ میپ دی صرف ټیچرانو سټوډنټانو لپاره چې موږ څنګه مطلب کم لیکچر کې موږ لګي کم یو کورس یا کم یو کانټینټس کور کوو نو فردر ګایډلاین لپاره تاسو کوشش وکړئ تاسو بوک نه استفاده وکړئ. Thank you so much.